Hello all, I'm Sai and in today's video, I'm bringing to you my spoiler-free review of The Winter Night Trilogy by Katherine Arden, whose three books are The Bear and the Nightingale, The Girl in the Tower, and The Winter of the Witch. I read all these three books in January and trust me, it was such a great series to start the year with. And it is also one series which is perfect to read during the winter time. So if you're watching this review before reading the series anytime during the other seasons of the year, I'd highly suggest you to wait until winter and then read the series because it will be perfect during that season. So without any further ado, let's get into the various parts of the review right away. I want to start with the plot of this book, in which we follow our main character Vasya or Vasilisa Petrovna in the small village in Russia, as the series as a whole itself is inspired from the medieval history of Russia from the 1400s. The entirety of the first book happens in this small village alone, and we get the story starting from the birth of Vasya, during which her mother dies. And Vasya also ends up inheriting some of the powers of her mother and her grandmother before her, due to which she is able to see some spirits, ghosts and supernatural beings that are just coexisting along with the human beings in this world. The culture is also set up in such a way that though all the normal human beings cannot see all these supernatural creatures or spirits that are helping them continuously, they lend food offerings to these spirits in various parts of their houses just in order to keep those spirits with them, because there is this huge belief and faith that the existence of these spirits are only keeping their families and their homes safe from all the evil things that are going on in the world. So in the first book, we just get to know all about this world and how it works and what are all the abilities that Vasya has, as well as this other character who's Vasya's stepmother also having the same power. It's not like this power that Vasya has is seen as totally helpful and totally normal. Some people consider it to be a very lucky thing because it helps the people to understand their faith a bit more and also concretely believe in certain things which they have been doing for ages. And on the other hand, because of certain influences, because of a religion that is taking over Russia, some people also end up thinking that those who are able to see these spirits and communicate with them are actually witches and need to be burned at the stake. All this history of the world and how it works is set up properly in this first book, and we get to see the world properly here. How Vasya navigates her life after the death of her mother during her birth itself, and how she grows up with her elder siblings and father and stepmother, while understanding her own powers and trying to tap into certain things which are genuinely feeling right to her, at the same time keeping herself away from certain things because of the control that is imposed on her by the elders in her family is the actual plot of the series in the first book. It feels like a very short and contained plot in the first book, but as we move on to the second and third books into the series, we see the world expanding and the scope of the series getting much more huge. At the same time, we get a lot more plot in the second and third books only, and the first book is just kind of a setup. Nothing happens for almost 2/3 of the first book, and only in the last third of the book, everything happens all at once and it just draws you into the main plot that has been building up for so far. So in terms of plot, even though it is not that strong in the first book, as the series progresses on, it gets much more concrete and coherent, and the amount of time that it takes in the first book is necessary to anchor us to this world. Moving on to the characters, of all the characters whom we see in this series, Vasya being the main character is done in the most wonderful way by the author compared to any of the other characters. While I'm saying that Vasya is done well, it doesn't mean all the other characters are not that praiseworthy inside the series. Even in the first book itself, we have these many characters whom I'll just read to you from my script because I'm not able to remember all their names properly. First, obviously, we have Vasya, and we have two of her elder brothers, of whom one is Sasha. I'm telling him alone because he is even more important to the series, and her elder sister Olga. We have Vasya's father Pyotr and her stepmother Anna, who's also able to see the spirits just as Vasya does. But the difference between Vasya and Anna is that Vasya understands that these creatures are helping their family, helping their culture, and protecting them as a whole, while Anna is made to believe that she is going mad because of the ability to see these things that other people are not able to see. Then we have the Bear, who's kind of the main antagonist of the story, and Morosko, who's such an interesting character. Apart from all these people, we also have this priest guy who also ends up being one of the main antagonists inside this first book itself. While you read the series, you'll be able to see a proper trajectory in which Vasya's character is being led starting from the first book itself, and once you reach the ending of the series, you're able to see all the bits and pieces of the story that happen in different realms coming close together and just crystallizing towards the climax, making her to be the person that she is in the ending of the story, and stressing and pushing Vasya so hard because she is one of the driving forces for the series, if you ask me. And if she had not been done in the way that she has been written, the series will become very boring and annoying at times, since it has such a slow moving start which takes quite a bit of time to just anchor us into the world and bring us into the story. If we don't have such a charming and natural character like Vasya, I don't think anyone will be able to continue on with the series series, even in the first book itself. So personally for me, I think Vasya is such a badass character who knows her place in the world and always makes it a point to just grab that place and show everyone that no matter whom she is and no matter whom she looks like for others, she knows whom she is and she has all the power that she has. She's badass in a very different way compared to all the other powerful female characters that I've read so far, and she just felt like such an energetic breath of fresh air to me. Now moving on to the world building and writing. For me personally, more than anything in this series, the world building and writing are the most strong pillars, okay? If not for this author's writing and the kind of world building that she has done in the series, I don't think the series would be something which would be easy for that many people to read. It has tons of reviews just on Goodreads itself. I should say it has like an average of more than 4.25 stars for each and every one of the 3 books, which just shows us how good the book is. It's not like some people like it and some people don't like it. Even people who don't like books that are written in this format usually end up liking the series because the author has that ability to just draw you into the world, even though she takes a little bit of time. It's not like it is going to bore you out just because it's slow, okay? It'll make you stay on and wait for that particular instant during which you can just get yourself in that and just experience this world for yourself. Now, specifically talking about the world building, I want to say how well she has depicted the places in which the story is taking place, okay? I was able to see each and everything she was describing, each and every one of the characters, the things that they are wearing. That's not a ton of description, okay? It's very minimal when it comes to the amount of description that the author has, and she does not go for pages and pages describing each and every location that the things are happening inside the series. She just uses hints here and there and builds the world in a very rough way with a little bit of details added here and there so that we don't get bored while reading the description. At the same time, we can see the beauty of this world with the amount of description that she gives. My favorite part when it comes to the world building is the use of the different kinds of spirits from the Russian folklore that have been put into here. Before the series, I did not know the existence of any of these folklore from Russian culture, and while I read it, it was not just new for me but also super interesting and engrossing as a whole. I was able to see the difference between each and every spirit that she was describing, how they appear, where they appear, what is their work, how they end up helping these people in different ways, how they end up communicating with Vasya and getting certain things that are done for them. Especially in the third book, you see this little mushroom kind of creature which just comes and helps Vasya in different instances during the story. It's not like it appears out of nowhere, it comes only during certain instances, and the conversations that mushroom-like creature has with Vasya is just so cute. I was just craving to see this as a visual somewhere because I'm sure if you are able to get that rightly done in some kind of adaptation, this will be a super huge hit. I'm just stating that as an example, but apart from that, there are so many other things that are going on in this world which will make you understand how deep and rich it is a setup for experiencing the story. She talks about these spirits or creatures from different parts, okay? She talks them about in different realms where the story takes place. Now, the realms in the story are basically like different dimensions of the world where the author just transports the character into based on how the plot is moving in that particular book or particular sequence inside the series. The kind of characters that she draws in there, the kind of creatures and spirits that she draws in for particular instances during the story are just perfect and apt for that particular instant, if you ask me. It didn't feel like anything was out of place at all. Everything just felt very intentionally written and placed so that it conveys the exact amount of impact that it has to have on us. And talking about the writing in specific, it was just beautiful, okay? I personally love Leigh Bardugo's prose so much, and this was so much close into Leigh Bardugo's prose, okay? It just felt very, very beautiful. Each and every sentence was really beautifully written. If I'm not wrong, Lady Taylor has written up love for one of these 3 books, and I was able to see why Lady Taylor might have enjoyed the series because if you read Strange the Dreamer, you just know how beautiful the writing is in that book. This one is nearly as good as that for me. I was enjoying each and every paragraph. I was enjoying each and every sentence. The right amount of words, the right kind of words that the author uses to show us what is happening, to show us how things are, and to convey that exact feeling that the character is experiencing out there. There were some sentences in the book while I was reading, I just felt like I was there in that place. I was able to feel that coldness in my bones. I live in Chennai and I've been living in Chennai ever since my birth, and trust me, I've not seen real snow in my life, but I was able to feel that cold. I was able to feel that amount of rigidity in the body while I was reading this series because it was that powerful kind of writing. And I also said in the beginning, right, that the character is transported into different realms or different dimensions of the world as the plot progresses. The writing in those parts of the series were like glazing on top of chocolate for me because it is not something that we can specifically touch and feel. It is not that tangible. At the same time, it has such a great effect that you are able to feel what is happening because of that particular style of writing in that instance, and it just makes you feel this hazy kind of feeling that it is happening in this world, but it is actually happening. It's not like we can go into that world. At the same time, it does not take away the fact that the thing is actually happening in that world. I don't know if I'm articulating this properly or not, but That is the kind of feeling that I had while I was reading this entire series during multiple instances, and I think it was achieved only because of the author's beautiful writing. And finally, talking about the pacing of the series, okay? The entire series itself is basically slowly paced, okay? But the first book is extremely slow paced. If you're someone who likes only reading fast paced books, I can easily see that you'll not like this first book at least, because as I said multiple times already, for nearly 2/3 of the first book, everything is slow. You're just getting this setup and seeing this world where all this is going to take place. And you need that amount of time in order to experience the story to its fullest. So even though it's slow, just trust me and keep on reading, because you'll be astonished to how it turns out in the second and third books. So the pacing of the first book is just slow, okay? I don't want to say that it'll be fast towards the end also, because if it's slow for most part, for me it is slow. So the first book is basically slow paced, and when you move into the second book, the plot actually starts happening. You can see how many subplots are going to be built in the second book, which is not even that longer in terms of word count and size than the first book. Despite that, so many things happen in the second book which ties in the first and third books together without making you feel like it's a middle book. And when you finally move into the third book, you can just see all these pieces of information that you've seen from the first and second books thrown in here and there, just like casual conversations between characters, fitting in perfectly together and crystallizing towards the climax. So I can easily say like this: the first book is basically the setup, the second book's where the plot happens for the most part, and the third book draws in both of these elements from the first two books in the precise amount such that it makes it feel like the perfect ending for the series, which technically it does for me. So as a whole, I'll say that it is moderately paced. It's not so fast, not so slow except for the first book, and as a whole, you'll just have such a fun time. And trust me, if you would take even one whole month to read just these 3 books, the reading that you do in that 1 month will be super satisfying for you. So yes guys, that's it for my spoiler-free review, and I rated the first book, The Bat and the Nightingale, 5 stars, and the second and third books, The Girl in the Tower and The Winter of the Witch, 4.75 stars each. I hope this video was useful for you and I ended up convincing you to pick up the series and read it because it is so good. If you're going to read the series after watching this video, please do let me know down in the comments what makes you want to read it. And if you've already read the series, feel free to discuss it with me in the comments. Just make sure that you don't spoil it for anyone else. And if you enjoyed watching today's video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also share it to your friends. If you want to get more content from me, do subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.